Ethan, I hate seeing you so worn out. For the wedding in a few days. How about we let Grayson stand in for you? Would that be okay? My girlfriend, Isabella, looked at me, her eyes brimming with concern. Bella, you really do know how to take care of me, I said, pinching her beautiful cheek with a look of pure adoration. I actually have something to discuss with you, too. The thought of you going through the pain of childbirth. I just can't bear it. So, I've decided to let your best friend, Chloe, carry the baby for you. I handed her the pregnancy report. I went with her to the OB/GYN yesterday. The doctor says the baby is developing perfectly. What? Isabella's smile froze on her face as she took the paper from my hand. It's real. Her eyes, now bloodshot and welling with tears, glared at me. It's already been over 2 months. When did you two start? She shrieked. I guess it was around. Just then my phone rang. It was her best friend, Chloe. After the call, I grabbed my jacket and headed for the door. Chloe's craving something sour. I'm gonna go pick something up. I walked out without a second glance. Ethan, you bastard. You get back here. Cough. Isabella's hysterical scream was cut short as she sprayed a mouthful of blood onto the pregnancy report on the floor. I'm what you'd call a transmigrator. I've woken up inside a novel, and a ridiculously melodramatic one at that. The original story was one of those tired, old tropes. The female lead gets dumped by her first love for a wealthy older woman. Devastated, she's nursed back to health by the male lead, a patient, caring man who helps her get back on her feet as her family's business flourishes. Naturally, she falls for him, and they get together. Then, her first love, the one that got away, gets chewed up and spit out by the sugar mama. After 3 years of being used, he's sent packing back to the States with nothing but a collection of STDs. The day he lands, the female lead ditches the male lead in a torrential downpour to go pick him up from the airport, promising she'll be right back. She isn't. She throws a welcome home party for her ex that night and forgets the male lead completely. He's left to soak in the rain all night, coming down with a fever that lasts for days. Another time, during a terrifying thunderstorm, they're tangled in bed together when the ex calls, whispering that he's scared and wants her to come over. She leaves the male lead, who is, ironically, the one with a genuine phobia of storms, and drives through the deluge to comfort her ex. The male lead spends the entire night huddled in a corner of the bed, wide awake with fear. The final straw is an old pact she made with her ex, a promise to hold a wedding ceremony for each other when they grew up, regardless of whether they were together. After her symbolic wedding, she returns home to find the male lead gone for good. What follows is a desperate, tear-soaked campaign to win him back. But as a wise man once said, love that shows up late is worth less than a handful of dirt. In the end, the male lead dies with a broken heart, never marrying. The female lead goes insane with regret. And the ex? He gets off scot-free. A truly miserable ending. But now that I'm here, I'm going to make sure we get a happy one. To be honest, waking up in this guy's life isn't half bad. The original character came from a wealthy family with a successful company. His girlfriend was from a similar background, and she was gorgeous. Whatever happens later, this is a pretty sweet setup for now. Aside from being a pathetic, lovesick doormat with a tragic ending, the guy had a top-tier life. And that lovesickness? That's something I can fix. I'm here to enjoy the perks of his life, not suffer through his heartbreak. Someone else can have the pain. I'm not touching it. When I first arrived, he and Isabella were deep in their honeymoon phase. I spent a very comfortable 1.5 years living with her. But now, Isabella's old flame, Grayson Cole, was back. Today, Isabella had plans to get sushi with her friends. The driver was taking me, Isabella, and her best friend, Chloe, in the car. We had just pulled out of the driveway when the sky opened up, rain pouring down in sheets. That's when Isabella's phone rang. I saw her body visibly tense up. She fumbled in her purse for her phone and answered it in a split second, her voice deliberately low but unable to hide its urgency. Hello. I couldn't hear what was said on the other end, but I saw her eyes light up, her face breaking into the giddy, irrepressible smile of a teenager with a crush. The corners of her mouth curled up uncontrollably, and her voice became syrupy sweet. Really? You're here? I know, it must be impossible to get a cab in this weather. Don't move. Stay right where you are. I'm coming to get you. Hanging up, she turned to me, her face a mask of guilt. Her eyes darted around, refusing to meet mine. Ethan, something urgent just came up at the office. Mr. Thompson called an emergency meeting, and I have to get over there right now. Look, the rain is just too heavy, and there isn't enough room in the car for everyone. How about you hop out here? I'll come back and get you as soon as I'm done, okay? I was taking a sip of water and couldn't help but spray it all over her face. Wow, just wow. The sheer audacity of that lie. How did the original guy believe this crap for over a year? The phone call had nothing to do with a meeting, and there wasn't enough room? Was this spacious luxury sedan made of cardboard? You could fit 3 more people in here comfortably. Bella. Before I could say anything, Chloe, sitting next to me, had heard enough. She frowned, her tone sharp with disapproval. It's pouring out there. Where is Ethan supposed to go? Do you want him to get sick? And what kind of company secret is so important he can't come along? Isabella quickly and secretly pinched Chloe's long, toned leg under the seat, her eyes wide with frantic signals. The gesture was so exaggerated, I'd have to be blind to miss it. She lowered her voice. It's a company secret. Business stuff. Ethan wouldn't understand. Besides, we have to pick up an important client on the way, so there's really no room. I chuckled internally, but didn't call her out. It's fine, no problem. You guys go have fun. Go handle your business. Just drop me off up here. Take a right after this street and go down about half a mile. Let's see who's really going to be having fun, I thought with a smirk. The car pulled over. Isabella glanced out the window. Vortex Lounge? Ethan, what are you doing here? Getting out of the rain, obviously. You two drive safe. With that, I shut the car door and sprinted into the building. Mr. Vance, should we head to the office now? The driver asked, snapping Isabella out of her daze as she stared at the lounge's entrance. Go to the airport, she said distractedly. As the car pulled away, she kept her head turned, her brow furrowed, watching the lounge disappear from view. When did Ethan start going to places like that? I never let him go to clubs. If he did, he had to have me with him. All those sharks in there, every single one of them. Hello, Bella. Her best friend, Chloe, tapped her on the shoulder. What are you staring at? You look like you've seen a ghost. No, nothing. Can you book a nice hotel? After we get Grayson, we'll go straight there for his welcome back dinner. Sure. The usual spot? Aria, fine dining. Yeah, sounds good. Stepping into Vortex, I was immediately hit by a wall of sound. Thumping bass and dizzying colorful lights that washed away the chill from outside. The original Ethan was so tightly controlled by Isabella that he probably didn't even know which way the door to a place like this opened. The memory made the scene feel surprisingly foreign. But that wasn't going to stop me from enjoying some long overdue freedom. Good evening, sir. How many in your party? A waiter in a sharp vest greeted me warmly. Just me. Give me the VIP booth. Right this way, sir. Once I was settled, a handsome waiter with a sunny smile came in to take my drink order. Your fruit platter, sir. Enjoy. Do you need help choosing a playlist, sir? What kind of music do you like? Nah, we can worry about that later, I said, waving my hand magnanimously. For now, send over a few of your best hostesses. Let's get this party started. Leaning back on the plush sofa, munching on sweet fruit, and listening to the high-energy music, I felt incredible. To hell with the melodramatic plot. To hell with the one that got away. Right now, I was going to live my life. Meanwhile, Isabella's car arrived at the airport and smoothly picked up the man himself, Grayson Cole, draped in designer labels that couldn't quite hide his desperation, a calculating glint in his eyes. The moment Grayson got in the car, his performance began. His gaze was glued to Isabella. Bella, it's been too long. You're even more beautiful. His eyes were full of staged emotion, a calculated mix of nostalgia and greed I could spot a mile away as he scanned the car's luxurious interior. Thanks. You too, Isabella replied, but her attention was elsewhere. She kept glancing at her phone, clearly distracted, her mind replaying the image of me running into that lounge. The welcome back dinner was held in a private room at a high-end, exclusive restaurant. Besides Chloe, a few other mutual friends were there. Grayson was the undeniable star of the evening, pulling out all the stops, trips down memory lane, intense, soulful stares, and casually dropped ambiguous compliments. The whole routine was flawlessly executed. Remember when we were kids? Under that old oak tree back home, you said you'd marry me one day. These years abroad were fine, but I was so lonely. The thing I missed most was your lemon pepper chicken. And just the feeling of being with you. But it was no use. Isabella's soul seemed to have been left behind at Vortex Lounge. Her mind was flooded with visions of me, surrounded by beautiful women, living it up in a haze of hedonism. The more she thought about it, the more restless she became. Her chopsticks aimlessly prodded at a delicate scallop on her plate, threatening to mash it into pulp. What is Ethan doing right now? Why would he go to a place like that? Is he mad at me? The questions swirled in her head, driving her to distraction. Bella. Grayson called her name for the third time, watching her blankly swirl the wine in her glass. This wasn't how he'd pictured their reunion. He expected her to be fawning over him, showering him with attention, burning with passion. The Isabella who had always been at his beck and call was now a million miles away, even though he was sitting right beside her. Huh? Oh, sorry, Grayson. Isabella snapped back to reality, forcing a stiff smile. She put down her fork, abandoning the mangled scallop. I have a family emergency. It's really urgent. I have to go. You guys have fun, eat, and drink up. It's all my tab. We'll get together properly another time. Right now, all she wanted was to fly to that lounge and see for herself. With that, as if fleeing a fire, she grabbed her purse and bolted. Grayson shot out a hand and grabbed her wrist, his grip a little too tight, his voice laced with a wounded tone. Bella, what's so urgent? Is it more important than us seeing each other after all these years? I was overseas for so long, and you were the person I want to see every single day. The party's barely started, and the guest of honor is leaving. Can't you stay a little longer? It was his go-to move, one that had always worked on Isabella. But this time, she forcefully wrenched her hand free, her face a mask of undisguised irritation and urgency. Her voice was sharp. Grayson, I'm serious. It's an emergency. Ethan, he's still out there in the rain waiting for me. I have to go get him. Before the words were even fully out, she was gone, practically sprinting out of the private room like a gust of wind, leaving her coat behind. Ethan. Grayson stared after her, his jaw so tight he nearly ground his teeth to dust. His eyes were dark enough to curdle water. Ethan again, just a placeholder, a stepping stone he'd never considered a real obstacle. It seemed this guy wasn't so simple after all. Isabella raced to Vortex Lounge, only to find it empty. I'd already paid my tab and left. The booth was now occupied by another group of revelers. Dejected, she returned home to find that I still wasn't back, a first in their entire relationship. She collapsed onto the sofa, her initial anxiety slowly morphing into worry and self-reassurance. He's probably just mad. He went to a friend's house. Her mind churned with possibilities until, exhausted and uneasy, she drifted into a restless sleep, not even bothering to take off her makeup. The next morning, after a wonderfully comfortable night in the presidential suite of the Grand Sterling Hotel, I returned home, showered, refreshed, and humming a tune. The click of the lock was like an electric shock. Isabella, who had been curled up on the sofa looking haggard, shot to her feet and rushed toward me. Her eyes scanned me up and down like a human x-ray machine, and she even sniffed the air around me like a bloodhound, desperate for any clue. Ethan, where were you last night? Why didn't you come home? Do you have any idea how worried I was? And you wouldn't answer your phone. Her tone was accusatory, but underneath it was a deep-seated fear, a panic of losing her grip. Her eyes were veined with red. I slowly pulled out my phone, unlocked it, and opened up Instagram. I found the post Chloe had made last night and held the screen up for her to see. It was a 9-photo grid from their dinner, a lively celebration for Grayson. He was seated at the head of the table, smiling like he'd won the lottery. Isabella was next to him, and though she looked a bit distracted, they appeared perfectly harmonious in the picture. I thought you were handling a company emergency last night? Or was it a welcome-back party for this important client? My voice was calm. Seems like this client is a pretty big deal. Important enough for you to leave your fiancé out in a storm all night. My gaze was placid, but it put more pressure on her than any shouting match ever could. Isabella's face went white as a sheet. Her lips trembled as she scrambled for an explanation, her words tumbling out in a mess. Ethan, listen to me. It's not what you think. It was Grayson. He just got back to the country. He doesn't know anyone, and it was raining so hard he couldn't get a cab. I was going to drop him off and come right back for you. But then our friends insisted on throwing this party, and I couldn't get away. I went to the lounge to find you later, I swear, but you were already gone. Her excuses were so flimsy, even she could hear how hollow they sounded. I waved a hand, tired of listening to her half-hearted lies, grabbed my things, and left for the office. For the next few days, Isabella was on her best behavior. She came home on time, her words and actions laced with a careful, deliberate attempt to please me, to make up for that night. She even started cooking for me, something she'd never done before, though the results were mostly inedible. Unfortunately for her, the plot of this novel wasn't done with her yet. Under Grayson's constant barrage of calls, he was either in a bad mood and needed company, in trouble and needed help, or just wanted to hang out with friends. Her guilt quickly evaporated. She started coming home late again, using work or a friend in distress as her excuse. And me? I wasn't sitting around waiting. She went out with her friends. I went out for business dinners. We each did our own thing. It was perfect. And through it all, as Chloe kept covering for Isabella, she and I grew closer and closer. One night, the wind howled, rattling the windows. It was followed by a crash of thunder and a flash of lightning as rain hammered down like marbles against the glass. Sure enough, Grayson's special ringtone went off. We had just finished a workout and were about to fall asleep. Isabella glanced at me before answering the phone. Bella, it's thundering, and I'm so scared. I'm all alone here. The house is so empty. You know how much I hate weather like this. Can you come keep me company? Isabella clutched the phone, a flicker of conflict on her face. She looked at me hesitantly, as if asking for my permission. However, I just stared back at her, my face a blank canvas. I wouldn't tell her she could go, but I certainly wouldn't stop her. Ethan, Grayson said he's scared all by himself at home. Maybe I should. Whether you go or not is your decision. You don't need to ask me. Isabella seemed stunned by my reaction. She froze for a second. Ethan, I'll just go check on him. I'll be back really fast. Wait for me. With that, she hastily threw on her clothes, grabbed an umbrella, and plunged into the stormy night without a second thought. Watching her disappear, the smile on my face vanished. I immediately picked up my phone, scrolled to Chloe's number, and dialed. She answered almost instantly. I cleared my throat. Hey, Chloe, it's storming outside, and I'm all alone here. Can you come keep me company? There was a 2-second pause on the other end, followed by Chloe's crisp, decisive voice, tinged with an eagerness I couldn't miss. Okay, I'm on my way. No questions. No polite hesitation. Perfect, I said with a snap of my fingers, a triumphant grin spreading across my face. Chloe arrived even faster than I expected, her hair and shoulders damp from the rain. She brought a gust of cool, wet air with her. Just as she stepped inside, a massive clap of thunder exploded, sounding like it was right on top of the roof. The deafening crack rattled the windows and made the lights flicker. I seized the moment. Feigning terror, I let out a small gasp and dove in her arms, burying my face in the damp, fragrant fabric of her shirt. I wrapped my arms tightly around her slender but strong waist. My voice came out muffled against her chest, laced with fake panic. That was terrifying. I hate thunderstorms more than anything. As I spoke, I nuzzled my head against her, appreciating the softness of her chest. Her waist felt perfect in my hands, slender but firm, with a wonderful elasticity. Chloe's body tensed for a moment, clearly surprised by my forwardness, but she relaxed just as quickly. One hand came up to gently circle my back, while the other began to pat it rhythmically, as if soothing a frightened animal. Her voice was a warm, gentle murmur, laced with a smile I could hear. It's okay, don't be scared. I'm here now. Holding her close, I gently guided her toward the bedroom. The thunder is too loud out here. It's scarier. Let's go in my room. It's more soundproof. And warmer. Once inside, we sat on the soft bed, making small talk at first, about the weather, about childhood fears of storms, about life goals and future plans. We bonded over our mutual exasperation with certain people. As we talked, the distance between us shrank until our breaths mingled in the air. The atmosphere grew thick with unspoken desire. The raging storm outside became the perfect, passionate soundtrack to our night, as if cheering us on. The mattress dipped, clothes rustled to the floor, and the room filled with the soft sounds of hushed breaths and low moans. In short, it was a night of intense, harmonious, and deeply satisfying communication. I woke up the next morning feeling refreshed and invigorated. The space beside me was empty, the only evidence of the night before being the telltale wrinkles on the sheets and a single, long strand of hair on the pillow that wasn't mine, carrying a faint, sweet scent. It was almost noon when Isabella finally returned, looking utterly exhausted with dark circles under her eyes. She saw me sitting on the living room sofa, casually flipping through a magazine. Her eyes flickered with guilt as she began her explanation, her voice raspy with fatigue. Ethan, the rain last night was just too heavy. It was impossible to drive back. And Grayson, he was so scared he couldn't sleep a wink. A few of us friends were worried, so we stayed in his living room with him all night. She watched my face carefully, gauging my reaction. A small smile played on my lips as I scrolled through my phone, looking at a cute, caring message Chloe had just sent me. I grunted in acknowledgement without even looking up. I might as well have been a complete stranger. Isabella paused, feeling as if she'd thrown a punch that landed in a pillow of cotton. All the excuses she had prepared were now stuck in her throat, making her deeply uncomfortable. She edged closer, her tone a mixture of disbelief and simmering anger. I just told you I spent the night at another man's house, and that's your only reaction? This was nothing like the fight she had anticipated. My indifference was more unsettling than any accusation could ever be. I finally lifted my eyes from the screen and met her gaze, my voice flat. And what kind of reaction should I have? Should I throw a tantrum? Threaten to kill myself? Or maybe lock you in the house so you can't leave? You should at least be angry. You should be jealous. That's how you show you care about me," she exclaimed, her voice rising with a sense of neglected entitlement and frustration. "You knew what you were doing was wrong, that it would look bad, but you went anyway." I shrugged, my tone light, colored with a sense of weary clarity. "I'm just your boyfriend, Bella. I'm not your keeper." With that, I put my phone away, stood up, and straightened my clothes. I had promised to take Chloe out for a nice lunch, and I didn't want to be late. I left her standing there, a storm of emotions, from shock to rage to a dawning panic, brewing on her face. It was finally, belatedly, sinking in. My complete lack of concern was far more terrifying to her than any heated argument could ever be. In the days that followed, Isabella seemed genuinely panicked. She tried desperately to make amends, her efforts often clumsy and transparent. She cleared her schedule to spend more time with me, booking appointments for us to visit wedding venues, try on tuxedos, and pick out home furnishings. She acted as if she was completely invested in the wedding preparations. She would even text me during the day to ask what I wanted for dinner, which she would then attempt to cook herself. Her culinary skills actually improved significantly. I played along, my performance flawless. I was the gentle, considerate, perfect fiancé. Playing a part was easy, especially since I knew, based on the original novel's plot, that this wedding was never going to happen. Grayson still hadn't played his trump card, the childhood wedding pact. I was just waiting for the show to begin. Besides, she was the one paying for everything. During this time, she was still frequently called away by Grayson's various emergencies, which, conveniently, gave Chloe and me plenty of time for our own private, in-depth discussions. Our relationship was moving at lightning speed. We discovered we were remarkably compatible in our values, our hobbies, and especially our shared opinions on Isabella and Grayson. Our lives took a turn during dinner at an exquisite little private kitchen. We had just ordered when Chloe's face suddenly went pale. She covered her mouth, let out a small retching sound, and shot up from her seat. "Excuse me," she mumbled, before rushing to the restroom. Watching her hurry away, my heart skipped a beat. It was immediately followed by a surge of intense, unexpected joy and anticipation. Could it be? Sure enough, with my insistence, we went to a clinic, and the results came back quickly. I stared at the ultrasound image, at the two tiny, bean-like shapes that were already beginning to look human. A strange, indescribable feeling washed over me. They're here. It was meant to be, and there were two of them. I looked at Chloe, who was standing beside me in a state of shock, and squeezed her hand tightly. When I got home that evening, Isabella had a full dinner waiting. She rushed over the moment I walked in, wrapping her arms around mine and pressing her body close. "Ethan, you've been working so hard on the wedding plans lately, you've lost weight. It breaks my heart to see you so tired. Maybe we should just let the wedding planners handle the small stuff? You shouldn't push yourself so hard." My internal alarms went off. Here it comes. This was it. Might as well get it all out in the open tonight. On the surface, however, I remained calm, even patting the back of her hand reassuringly. "It's fine." She paused, studying my expression carefully before speaking. I had an idea. "What is it?" "You know you can tell me anything. Look, the wedding in a few days. It's really just a formality for our parents, right? The ceremony is so long and tiring, and I'm worried about you. What if we let Grayson stand in for you? Just for the ceremony? His build is similar to yours. He even wears the same size suit. In a tux with a mask and sunglasses. No one would be able to tell from a distance. That way, I wouldn't have to watch you suffer through it. It would kill me." She said it with such sincerity, her eyes even welling up with fake tears of concern. Under any other circumstances, I might have been touched. But this? She was treating me like a complete idiot. She was so worried about me getting tired at my own wedding that she didn't want me to attend. The wedding night would be even more tiring. Was she going to have him stand in for that, too? I scoffed internally, but didn't let it bother me. She was just a girlfriend, after all. I never planned on marrying her. A smile even more exaggerated and concerned than hers bloomed on my face. I reached out and pinched her cheek affectionately. "Honey, that's why I love you. You're always thinking of me. Only you could come up with such a thoughtful, caring idea." Seeing my bright smile, seemingly devoid of any anger, she let out a sigh of relief, her own smile widening. "Baby, you care about me, but I care about you even more. The thought of a woman going through the pain of childbirth, carrying a baby for 10 months, it tears me apart inside. I can't stand the thought of you suffering even a little bit. So I've decided to let your best friend, Chloe, do it for you." With that, I pulled the freshly printed pregnancy report from my pocket and slowly handed it to her. She heard my words and excitedly stood on her toes to kiss me. I knew my Ethan was the best. Wait, what? Let Chloe have my baby. Isabella's smile froze. She couldn't believe what she had just heard. She slowly took the report, her eyes dropping to the paper. Her pupils constricted violently. Pregnancy, approximately 13 weeks. Fraternal twins. Fetal development normal. She read the words out loud, slowly, as if she no longer understood English. The hand holding the report began to tremble uncontrollably, crumpling the paper. After a few seconds of stunned silence, her head snapped up. Her eyes were instantly bloodshot, and tears began streaming down her face. This is real? It's been over 2 months? When? When did you two start? Huh? When? Right under my nose. That slut, Chloe, she seduced you. She crumpled the report into a ball and threw it on the floor. I scratched my head, affecting a casual tone. Let me think. It was probably that night with the thunderstorm. You went to Grayson's place, remember? I was scared too, so I asked her to come keep me company. Right on cue, my phone rang with the special ringtone I had set for Chloe. I answered immediately, my voice instantly softening into a gentle, caring tone. Hey, Chloe, what's wrong? Yeah? Okay. You're craving something sour? Okay. Just wait. I'll go get some for you right now. What kind of sour? Sour plums? Hawthorn berries? Or lemons? All right. I'll buy a little of everything. You can pick what you like. I'll be there soon. I hung up, grabbed my jacket from the sofa, and smoothly shrugged it on, heading for the door, completely ignoring the woman behind me who was trembling with rage and despair. Sorry, Bella. Chloe's morning sickness is acting up, and she's suddenly craving something sour. I have to get it to her right away. The pregnant lady gets what she wants, right? Can't let her go hungry. I'm sure you understand. Isabella let out a hysterical, hoarse scream, grabbing a throw pillow and hurling it at me. I didn't even turn back. All I could think about was getting those sour snacks. Ethan, you cheated on me. If you don't explain yourself, I will never forgive you. Cough. Isabella collapsed to the floor, a mouthful of blood splattering across the discarded pregnancy report. The rest was straightforward. I went back to my old place, packed my essential belongings, and moved in with Chloe. The following days were spent doting on her, caring for her with a gentle attentiveness that would make any husband-to-be proud. I never missed a single prenatal appointment. I memorized every pregnancy precaution and found creative ways to ensure she was getting all the right nutrients. I soothed her mood swings, which were an inevitable result of her changing hormones. But Isabella wasn't going to give up that easily. First came a flood of phone calls. After I blocked her number, she used every connection she had to track me down, quickly locating the downtown luxury condo where Chloe and I had made our new home. One morning, the doorbell began ringing incessantly, like an urgent summons. Worried the noise would upset Chloe, who had been on edge lately, I hurried to answer it. It was Isabella. She looked gaunt and distracted. The first thing she saw was Chloe standing behind me, dressed in a loose, comfortable cotton nightgown, her baby bump now showing prominently. Chloe's face was glowing with a healthy, natural radiance. She met Isabella's gaze calmly, knowing this confrontation was inevitable. In an instant, Isabella's eyes turned red with pure, unadulterated rage and jealousy. She looked like she wanted to tear Chloe apart with her bare hands. Chloe, I was so good to you. I treated you like my best friend, told you all my secrets, and you went behind my back and seduced my boyfriend. You shameless bitch. You're nothing but a whore. She completely lost control. Screaming like a mad woman, she lunged forward, her hand raised to slap Chloe across the face. My eyes went cold. I reacted instantly, grabbing her wrist in a vice-like grip and giving her a firm shove backward. She was wearing stilettos and was already unsteady. Weakened by weeks of emotional turmoil, the push sent her stumbling. She fell hard, her hip hitting the cold tile floor with a dull thud. Her purse went flying, its contents scattering everywhere, leaving her in a pathetic heap. She looked up at me, her eyes wide with shock and disbelief, as if I had committed some unforgivable crime. Her voice trembled, a mixture of tears and sharp accusation. Ethan, you pushed me? For her? You used to be unable to even say a harsh word to me. I stood firmly in front of Chloe, shielding her. She's pregnant. With my children. Of course I'm going to protect her and them from any harm. And what about me? What am I? I'm your fiancé. We're supposed to get married. The invitations have already been sent out, she wailed from the floor, crying without any regard for her appearance. Her makeup streamed down her face, making her look like a child throwing a tantrum. You? I raised an eyebrow, my tone dripping with a cold, undisguised mockery. You're just my ex-girlfriend. Have you forgotten? The moment you chose to go to the airport to pick up your precious Grayson and left me in a storm, I was done with you. Seeing her face drain of all color, I added, and as for the wedding, didn't you already have a replacement groom in mind? No, it's not like that. Ethan, let me explain. I love you. Nothing happened with Grayson, I swear. The person I love has always been you. She struggled to her feet and tried to lunge for my hand again, but I sidestepped her. She stumbled, nearly falling again, and had to brace herself against the wall. Her voice was shrill with desperation. Whether anything happened between you two or not is none of my business anymore. I wrapped an arm around Chloe's waist. Let me help you back upstairs. You need to stay relaxed during your pregnancy. Then I turned back to Isabella. Ms. Vance, please leave. And don't come back. If you continue to harass us, I won't hesitate to involve the authorities. I didn't give her another look. After that, Isabella descended into a terrifying obsession. She became completely unhinged, endlessly trying to interfere in our lives. She bombarded me with calls from new numbers, waited for me outside my office, and staked out our condo building. Her mental state was visibly deteriorating, but my resolve was absolute. My refusals were clean and final. I instructed security at my office not to let her in and informed the building management about the situation. Every time she appeared, it only reinforced how lucky I was to have escaped her, and it made me even more protective of Chloe, who needed peace and quiet. One day after work, as I was leaving the parking garage, Grayson cornered me. His face was dark, his eyes filled with anger and resentment. Ethan, we need to talk. He blocked my path, his posture aggressive. I don't have time, I said, trying to walk around him. Bella is completely ignoring me now. She won't answer my calls, she blocked me on everything, and when I try to see her, she just screams at me and hits me. She says I ruined her life. This is all your fault. Why did you? Smack. I slapped him so hard he spun in a circle, the force of it making my own hand sting. He wiped a trickle of blood from his lip, staring at me in shock. You? How dare you? How dare I? I followed it up with a swift kick to his groin. He let out a guttural scream and crumpled to the ground, trying and failing to get up as waves of tearing pain shot through him. She hits you when you go see her? What makes you think I wouldn't do the same? I'll say this one more time. Your business is not my business. She's single now. You have every opportunity to pursue her. I shot him one last look of disgust, as if he were a piece of trash, and got in my car. I had no interest in helping them get back together. In the original novel, after the main character left, Isabella and Grayson turned on each other, ending in mutual destruction. It was better to let them sort out their own mess. I was busy running between the office and home, and I didn't have a spare moment to waste on their drama. Later, I heard bits and pieces about Isabella from mutual acquaintances. Grayson, apparently, never gave up. He believed she was just temporarily angry and would eventually come back to him, so he continued to pursue her. One day, their drama spilled onto the highway in a high-speed chase. They both crashed. Grayson was killed instantly. Isabella's legs were crushed in the wreckage. Though she survived after multiple surgeries, she was told she would spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. The once glamorous heiress of the Vance family had met a tragic end, a steep price to pay for her own indecisiveness and terrible judgment. A few months later, on a bright, sunny day, Chloe and I had our wedding. We chose not to have it at some opulent hotel, but at a beautiful, art-filled garden estate, decorated to feel warm and romantic. Chloe wore a custom-made white lace gown, designed to perfectly accommodate her round, pregnant belly, which was now beautifully prominent. Her face glowed with a maternal softness and a happiness that shone from within. She looked like an angel. However, just as the officiant was about to pronounce us married, a figure appeared at the back of the crowd, a stark contrast to the joyous atmosphere. It was Isabella, in a wheelchair, being pushed by a middle-aged caregiver. She was dressed in a somber black dress, her face pale and gaunt, her eyes sunken. She stared intently at us on the altar, at our happy embrace. In her lap, her hands were clenched tightly around a wedding veil, the one we had picked out together, her knuckles white. The officiant, a true professional, paused for only a fraction of a second before continuing, his smile widening as he raised his voice, loud and clear. And now, I declare you husband and wife. Groom, you may kiss your beautiful bride. As the moving melody of the wedding march filled the air, mingled with the warm, sustained applause of our guests, I leaned in and lovingly kissed Chloe. When the kiss ended, I looked at her. She was looking up at me, her eyes overflowing with love and joy. She gently placed a hand on her round belly, where the proof of our love was growing. I smiled and squeezed her hand. Love that shows up late is worthless, but the happiness you seize for yourself after waking up and cutting your losses, that's priceless. As for the woman in the wheelchair, I'm sorry, but you ripped up your own script a long time ago. There's no part for you left to play in mine. Your role in this story is officially over. The future belongs to our family of four. The end.